You fast too much? Absolutely you can. You probably didn't see this one coming when everyone is just praising fasting of always being a good thing to do. But the reason actually has to do with the starvation hormone, glucagon, which opposes the action of insulin. Glucagon is like the driving force behind adaptation to starvation, which fasting essentially is to some degree. It is produced by things like fasting, fat loss, time-restricted eating, and high-protein animal diets. So the hormone is the underlying fat loss mechanism actually of high-protein animal diets and fasting overall, whether that is intermittent fasting, extended fasting, or whatever regime you have got going on. And the activation of glucagon is not an issue per se, but the problem is that you can create a hyper elevation of glucagon in the serum in your body, which then persists. And this constant elevation of the hormone drives insulin resistance over time. It's easy to demonstrate this. Research shows how glucagon can readily induce insulin resistance in the liver. And other studies show that fasting glucagon levels increase 1-to-1 with insulin resistance. A study even showed how healthy men experienced impaired glucose tolerance and clearance after just 60 hours of fasting. And the question is then, do the advantages outweigh the downsides? So fasting does have a lot of benefits, no question. But too much can drive imbalances in serum glucagon, as mentioned, which can drive insulin resistance. This demonstrates that the highest truth of health, that balance is essential, and that imbalanced inputs, even from healthy things, can create imbalances in the body, which left unchecked create disease. And from an ancestral standpoint, this also seems to make a lot of sense. A low-carb diet, or a low-carb high animal protein diet, even more specifically, aka a winter diet, you could call it, would facilitate insulin resistance and drive obesity. And then during the summer and fall, fruits and other carbs are plentiful, allowing you to store fat and survive the winter. So you have this loop basically going on, where in the summer you get a lot of carbs, in the winter you get a lot more fats and proteins. So you have these different seasons of eating, which then have had these purposes over such a long time. But if you focus on the same thing all the time keto, all the time fasting, whatever it is, you don't get a balance. You get a persistent thing that is ongoing, which can wreck your insulin, your glucagon, and a whole other bunch of things. Even just the actual spike in cortisol, the stress hormone that you get from fasting, from being in this starvation mode too often, can be really harmful as well. Which is why you need this balance. You can't do one thing all the time. It goes the same with any kind of food. No matter how healthy it might seem, it's not going to be healthy if you do it all the time, only. You have to switch it up. You have to go for the right balance of each and every single aspect of your health. That's the only way to achieve true, sustainable health over the long term for the rest of your life.